So today I want to talk about a common trait that probably makes you really good as a parent. It makes you great at your career. It's probably a trait that has carried you far in life. And it is also a trait that can, if you are not aware, will cause you to be um, attracted to the wrong types of people. The underlying root cause of why you wind up in unhealthy relationships to begin with, or kind of find yourself repeating the same type of pattern in your love life, is usually because of relational trauma, whether you've had one narcissistic ex or maybe you had childhood trauma and then you struggle to attract healthy partners as an adult. But the thing beyond the root cause, the relational trauma piece, which is the root cause, there's a behavioral trait, a behavioral pattern, and that is discipline. And at first, somebody would think, well, no, discipline makes me a great person. And I was doing some reflecting over the holidays about all the amazing people that we've worked with. And one of the common characteristics that women and men, but since we work with women, I'm going to speak specifically to women here. Women tend to struggle with discipline. They're great in their careers. Maybe they're, in a profession where they had to have a lot of postgraduate education. Maybe they have continued to excel and advance in their careers. Maybe they are co-parenting with the not so great ex-husband who may have narcissistic traits. And they're the super mom to their two teenagers or to their two college-grown kids. The discipline that she exemplifies in these areas of her life carry her very, very far. But if you identify as somebody who's disciplined, maybe outside of your career and raising a family, you are also disciplined in terms of your hobbies. Maybe in high school or college, you were an athlete, or maybe now as an adult, you join CrossFit and you do these hard, intense workouts. There's a certain level of discipline that makes somebody successful, but the same area of discipline will also cause you to, if you're not careful, get into dysfunctional relationships. And the reason behind that is usually if you have this pattern in your life and you apply a lot of discipline, you've probably applied discipline in your education, your undergrad, your graduate degrees, your career, raising your kids, and you maybe even working out or other hobbies that you do that require a lot of discipline, starting a business. There are areas of your life where you have references that if I work hard and I apply myself and I just keep going and I just apply more discipline, I just do a little bit more effort, I will get the result. I will win. I will get what I want. And this can work in those areas of your life. The reason behind working hard and having that discipline often comes down to a subconscious belief of not feeling like you're enough, not feeling like you're enough as you are, not feeling worthy, some way not feeling truly lovable. And because of that subconscious belief, and if you've listened to these episodes in the past, you may be familiar that I talk a lot about your subconscious beliefs and trauma. But if you don't feel like you are enough as you are, often it's that belief of not feeling like you are enough that will cause you to be disciplined on some level, that will push you to continuing to push yourself and continuing to exert effort and be disciplined in your career, in raising a family, in dating and educating yourself, wanting to be the best version of you possible, because somewhere subconsciously you don't truly believe you are enough as you are. Now, there's two downsides to this. The first downside is that if you subconsciously believe that you are not good enough and you have applied discipline as your coping skill to get you over that hump and to get what you want and to win what you want and to feel needed and to feel like you're achieving and to feel like you're worthy, you are going to attract a relationship specifically an intimate relationship. We often see people who attract intimate relationships. They have similar relationship dynamics with their bosses, their colleagues, their friends. But we're talking about intimate relationship because this tends to be the one area that brings up all of your stuff the fastest. It's usually the most emotional in terms of the level of emotional stakes and risks that you have to be in a relationship like that. So if you have relied on discipline to get you what you want, and you subconsciously don't believe that you are enough as you are, you will usually find a partner that's going to mirror all of that back to you. And we often see women who are really disciplined in their careers, really disciplined in their education, really disciplined at being a parent, who apply discipline to try to fix the relationship. And they believe that if I just work harder, that if I just try harder, that if I just give it more time, if I just exert a little bit more effort, that this will work out. And what's really driving that behavior is the belief that she's not good enough as she is. And a lot of times the people that we work with will get into these types of relationships, and usually they've never really had a healthy romantic relationship. The dynamic of chaos, of push-pull, of feeling on edge about the relationship, a lot of uncertainty in the relationship. That's exciting on one hand, but that dynamic is very comfortable for her. There's a part of her that knows that it's unhealthy. There's a part of her that sees all of the red flags and feels all of the red flags, usually from the onset. But there's another greater part, a dysfunctional part, a maladaptive part, a fear-based part that overrides all of that. And that part is rooted in the belief of I am not enough as I am. The other side of that coin that's driving that disciplinarian behavior to keep a bad relationship going, and to thinking if I just work harder, if I just keep going, if I just believe that if I put more time or we fix this one problem, we'll finally get it right. Behind that behavior really is a deep fear of abandonment. And abandonment anxiety is caused from being left or being abandoned emotionally. Maybe you weren't physically left as a child, but emotionally abandoned on some level as a child or early in your life, feeling like you weren't good enough, feeling like you didn't add up, feeling like you had to win people's attention or win people's approval. And if that's your template that you have in your psychology and in your subconscious mind, that will usually drive you to not only be disciplined in other parts of your life to overcompensate for that, to try to fill that void. It will cause you to attract unhealthy relationships that keep you working. It's like it's like a dangling carrot. Somebody's holding the dangling carrot in front of you, your partner or your ex, and they just keep moving it a little further away. So you have to keep working harder to get where you want to go. At the root of that is abandonment anxiety. And abandonment anxiety, if left unchecked, will cause you to overcompensate, not just by being disciplined in other parts of your life, but you're going to try to change somebody else's behavior. This doesn't just go, by the way, for romantic relationships, but this will show up in other areas of your life if you're honest and you take an honest assessment. If abandonment anxiety and subconscious beliefs of I am not good enough as I am are leading the show for you, you're going to try to change other people that you get into relationship with. You're going to try to correct their behavior that triggers you. You're going to try to change the way that they're avoidant or unavailable. That's one way that abandonment anxiety will derail your relationships. The second way is that you're going to try to change yourself to fit into that relationship. So you will tone down your voice. You'll ignore your needs. You will prioritize everybody else over yourself. You may minimize your needs. You will do things to your own behavior, try to change your own behavior, try not to be so needy, try not to talk about your needs or your wants. You may even overtake responsibility in a relationship to try to keep the peace. You'll people please. You'll change and kind of warp your behavior to fit in that relationship to avoid abandonment. And the third way abandonment anxiety will show up for you in relationship is that you'll completely numb yourself. So we talk to women sometimes who've been in marriages that were 20 years plus, and for the last 15, for example, years, they knew it was over, but they didn't know how to leave. They were too afraid to leave, and they just kind of numbed themselves to life by working a lot, by sometimes having affairs, by drinking too much wine, by shopping too much. They numb their experience to life to deal with that pain. So if you find that you're driven in other parts of your life, if you find that essentially you're a go-getter, but you never attract great relationships, and really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you achieve, it doesn't matter how successful you are in your career, you still don't feel like you're adding up, you still don't feel happy. You have to turn a little bit more inward and look closer at yourself and ask, am I truly dealing effectively? The operative word here is effectively, with the trauma that's causing me to play out these behaviors again and again. Like I said, a lot of women that we work with, they know that there's a part of them that knows the relationship that they have been involved in is wrong. They know it's wrong to ignore red flags. They know it's wrong to continue to text that person or to continue talking to that person. But there's a bigger part of them that just can't stop. And that bigger part of them that just can't stop is the trauma part. And that's ultimately what has to be healed. And that behavior, that emotional urge, that compulsion, that belief system, all of that stuff that's below your waking awareness. And this is why a lot of times people can plateau or they get kind of stuck with talk therapy. So they have a lot of logical insights, but they don't know how to really apply what they're learning in their day-to-day life, in triggering relationship settings with an ex or with a boss or with their kids. They don't know how to actually change their behavior in real time. And this is what we help people do here in Break the Cycle, by not only giving you trauma-informed methods for rewiring how you're thinking and how you're feeling every day, rewiring it in a way that you don't keep talking about it. You don't keep talking about your painful ex situation. You don't keep talking about complaining, because every time you talk about a past painful event, you're not doing anything really productive in your brain. You're getting it off your chest, so you're no longer suppressing it, but you're not rewiring that in your brain or in your nervous system. You're just actually reinforcing the same connections. And your body and your brain are really smart, and that if you keep reinforcing the same connections up here that are associated with stories like I'm not enough, my picker's broken, I always get the wrong men, those synapses get shorter, meaning there's less distance to travel, and they become thicker. So it's like a well-worn road. So the more you keep thinking about that, the more you keep talking about your past, the more you keep reinforcing the circuitry up here that's associated with all the bad behavior that you keep doing. So you're not really creating any new roads up there or in here. And in order to overcome that trauma response, you have to create a new road. You have to create new pathways in your brain, and you have to create new pathways in your nervous system that are not associated with doubt, anxiety, fear, shame, sadness, anger. You have to learn how to effectively regulate your feelings, befriend your feelings, and make better choices in relationship settings that initially will be very hard and uncomfortable. And a lot of people, especially when they're exiting a painful relationship, tend to, as a trauma response, want to isolate. They want to control. Their life gets really small. They don't really have any joy or happiness because their body is still falsely believing that they're living in fight or flight. And if you don't course correct that, a lot of times years can go by in your life and you're still stuck. So if you identify with being somebody who's essentially, when you're not involved in an unhealthy relationship, you're a disciplined person, maybe you are in sports in college, or maybe you're in sports now, maybe you are disciplined in your career, maybe you've done a lot of education, training to get where you are in your career. And there's, looking at you from the outside, there's really no reason why you would struggle in unhealthy relationships. Maybe your friends or your family are like, I don't understand. Like, she's so successful. Why does she keep getting into these, sad relationships with these guys that are unmotivated and less than beneath her. If that's you, you have to ask yourself honestly, am I really addressing the root issue? And the root issue is trauma, relational trauma, abandonment anxiety, overcompensating for those two things by being an overachiever, a disciplined person, because subconsciously you don't feel like you're enough. And it doesn't matter where you go in life or in the country, where you move, location wise. It doesn't matter what dating app you get on. It doesn't matter how many years you take off dating. I can't tell you how many people we've worked with who've taken a lot of time off dating after a divorce or a bad breakup, years. And they work hard on themselves, but that belief of I'm not enough is still in there. Their trauma is still in there. They're not healing their trauma. And then they go out and they make another dysfunctional choice in their love life and they feel even worse. So if you find that you are done, you're sick and tired of telling yourself, I'm never going to meet anybody. You're sick and tired of asking yourself questions like, what's wrong with me? You're sick and tired of feeling somewhat inferior. Like, is there something defective within me that's blocking me from getting this type of relationship? That's, am I just meant to feel stuck? If you're sick and tired of that and you want to feel, number one, happy, you want to feel happy with yourself. You want to feel fulfilled in your own life. You want to feel excited about your own life and adventurous. And you really want to step out of this numbness that you might be living in or the stuckness, and ultimately learn how to attract a better relationship by showing up differently in the relationship with you and the relationship with others, then I invite you to book a free breakthrough session and we'll see if it's a good fit to work together. We'll see if we can help you get from point A to your dream, whatever that is for you. Number one, help you get clarity on that call on what it is that you actually want. And then look at what it's going to take to get you from point A to point B. So the call is for people who are already successful in other parts of their lives. You've got a great career. You consider yourself, stable in other parts of your life. Nothing is like, a major catastrophe. This is because relational trauma and complex trauma are best healed when other parts of your life are secure, not big stressors. You're not worried about a lot of stuff all the time. Like work is good, money is good, kids are good, the ex is okay, you can tolerate him, but it's not great. Fine. We don't want you to be like in chaos mode because it does take a little bit longer to regulate if you're starting from chaos mode or you don't know how you're going to make the mortgage payment next month, etc. So having that stability, being successful already in other parts of your life is really, really important. The second thing, prior therapy. Maybe you're in therapy right now. Maybe you had a lot of therapy previously, but you felt like you plateaued, or you're in therapy right now, but maybe you're just going because you think it's what you should be doing, but deep down, you're not really getting the results that you want. And you feel like you need a plan. You actually need steps to follow every week. You need somebody who's going to keep you accountable, moving toward your goal and measure your progress. That's the second trait. And then finally, you're done with your ex, right? One big qualifier that we have people meet here is you can't secretly be hoping to go back to dysfunction and heal your trauma at the same time. You can't be like 1 foot in dysfunction and 1 foot in your future. You have to have both feet all the way over into your future. So 100% done with your ex, you're single or you're divorced, or you're well into the divorce process. Like the divorce is going to be final in a few months, or it's any day now. So if that's you, if that sounds like you, and you are tired of the unconscious things that you do, well-intended probably, but you realize that you're the big common denominator in your love life, and you realize you're the problem, and the things that are going on inside of you every day are not helping you get where you want to go, then book a free breakthrough call and we'll see if we can help you. Go to BethanyDotson.com/talk and you'll be taken to a calendar, select the day and time, and then you'll be forwarded to an application. Please complete that. That's really important. It gives us some insight into your starting point and where you're struggling with most and where you want to go. I hope you have a great, happy rest of your holiday season. Happy New Year. This could be the year that you say sayonara to your dysfunctional patterns and learn how to have peace in your heart, happiness every day, and ultimately a healthy relationship. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.